Have you ever just paused for a moment and asked, what are spurs actually for? Hi, I'm Dara Lewis, and I have spent the last 26 years learning, experiencing, and correcting my way of thinking in the learning process around horses and horse behavior. Have you ever just paused for a moment and asked, what are spurs actually for? I know we're all taught that they're supposed to enhance the leg signals for horses that have become dull to the leg over time, or they're supposed to extend the heel reach so that you're not moving your leg around as much. But they've also become kind of a status symbol for people where, in certain riding schools, you earn your spurs after you've figured out how to stabilize your leg enough. But these are also being put on not advanced riders just for that status, just to show, hey, I've got spurs, I can use them. Right. I remember being a young and progressing rider and getting pressured into wearing spurs, mostly on one side because they were necessary for the certain classes that I wanted to show in. And young, I mean not a teenager, a young adult, because I did crazy things with horses as a teenager. That'll be another video. But I was thinking, why? Why do I need spurs if I have made it to this level without using them at all? Why would I need to add something to my training regimen that won't really enhance anything at all, in my mind? When I did wear them, I was so afraid that I was going to hurt my horse that I became over-aware or overly conscious of where my heels were and how far away they were from her sides, because I did not want to use them at all. I became stiff in the leg and was preoccupied with keeping my heel away from the sides of my horse. So they actually made my riding worse. They are such a staple in the traditional punishment-based training methods where the horse is made to react to a pain stimulus in the training process so that they perform the desired action whether they initially understand it or not. Horses become dull to repeated leg aids that riders give at every single stride to attempt to enhance all of those stride movements. But this can result in harsh skin lesions and nerve damage where the spur lands because of so many uses of it over and over and over again. Many will argue that spurs are necessary and that they would never ride without them. These are the same people that do not understand how to fully sensitize a horse towards your slight weight shifts and leg movements that are a staple of classical training. These people also tend to have an unstable seat, which will also deaden the horse to the seat aids due to the fact that this is extra noise that doesn't matter. But these people also just use their spurs, so they have a unstable seat that they move around, whether or not they notice it, and then they use spurs as a sharp, clear signal to the horse, which it is a sharp, clear signal to the horse. That's no joke there, but they need that because they have so much leg and seat noise otherwise. Horses may be more sensitive to pain than we originally thought as well. According to Dr. Lydia Tong, an Australian forensic veterinary pathologist who did not receive any kind of funding for this type of research anyway, she just did this on her own volition, and she's trying to get funding for her research. While it's been said that horses are thick-skinned, Dr. Tong's research has found that horses' skin is thicker than humans by only 1 millimeter. The primary difference she found was in the deep collagen tissue, not the superficial pain-sensing fibers. The epidermis, or outermost layer, of the horse's skin was actually thinner than ours. meaning that horses have fewer skin cells between the environment and sensitive nerve endings. Tongs study indicates that horses don't have the, quote, padding from pain that it is originally assumed with other large animals. The study indicates that a horse's skin may feel even more sensation than a human skin. Knowing this gives me more evidence to believe that spur use is just a punishment for underreactivity, which is also mentioned in the complete training of horse and rider under the punishment section, that even in the Spanish classical riding school, spur use should only be the absolute last level of communication in the punishment section, where a dull horse or a horse that has started to ignore their rider, that's where spur is used. But instead of using more force and pain, why don't we actually just teach the horse to become more sensitive to our subtle movement and positioning? You know, the whole purpose behind dressage in the first place? Making the horse better and enhancing the horse instead of strength of the aids. Spur use was originally meant as the last level of defense to get your horse from point A to point B in a very life-threatening situation, as in a night when they're in battle. You think about this, the horse is surrounded by things that they should be afraid of. But if they're trying to run away, that's the opposite of what the knight wants. And that could also mean running into danger, the danger that the horse doesn't see. So the knight has to make sure that him and his horse stay within the safest part of the battlefield as possible. So sometimes that spur use is the absolute last little level of defense to get that horse to go where it needs to go. But this is 2024. This is modern day. We're not in battlefields, and the horses that we have are our pets, and we love them. In theory, most people do. So why would we be using spurs nowadays when we have the time and the patience, in theory, to be able to train these horses the correct way and to get them to be actual partners in this endeavor of training and riding and spending time with us? Bringing up the stress by involving pain in the teaching process is counterintuitive. This slows down the horse's ability to take in and remember information and act on it. Good, correct training where the horse learns is harder to find these days. Take a step back and reevaluate what's happening with your horse's training. Is your trainer or instructor causing reactions, or are they actually teaching you and the horse? Are they yelling at you because the horse is reacting badly to the thing they're asking you to do? Or do you feel like you have gained an actual amount of knowledge and you feel really good about how your horse has acted in that lesson or training session that day? If they don't want to show you what goes on behind closed doors or behind the curtain when you send your horse into their training, and how they get their finished product, then there's a problem. Find a better trainer who will actually teach your horse instead of just training them to react. Because when you get your horse back, you don't want a reactive horse that if they're not worked for over an hour every single day, then they're going to be a nightmare. You want a horse that is emotionally balanced and able to take on the challenges of the day and the challenges of a trail ride. You don't want to have to continue to send your horse back for training unless you want to enhance their training and progress it. You don't want to go back for tune-ups. If your horse is actually learning something, they tend to not have to be tuned up. If you are actually learning something with your horse, you will be a better rider and a better horseman, and will be able to actually troubleshoot things for yourself, and instead of having to go back for tune-ups. So let's support our good trainers of the world. Let's support our actually, teaching trainers that make you and your horse better. Find one of those people and thank them for what they do. Because sometimes it can be hard in a world of trainers that are just reactive, and that's how they get results, and they get ribbons for getting a horse to do what they want to do within a shorter amount of time. Like, why would a young horse be so bomb-proof if it wasn't for over-flooding? A bomb-proof been there, done that horse is created after life experiences happen. So that means that horse is going to be 15, 20 years old by the time you have a bomb-proof horse that you could trust with your children. And that's okay. Those horses need jobs. Because once they're retired from showing or retired from something that they've been doing all their lives, they still need something to do. So take a step back and just kind of think about how things happen in this equestrian society, and be a better consumer and be a better customer to those trainers that are offering good services. And try to just avoid the trainers that are offering services that only make your horse more reactive. So think about it. Make sure that you are having fun with your horse. Have a good day. Be kind to other people, and please be kind to your horse. Thank you.